Happy Information Wednesday, Chalyce McQueen here, and Feliz Cinco de Mayo. I want to talk about the umbrella policy in more depth today, specifically more of what the umbrella policy does not cover. I think when we all have an umbrella policy, we think it's our end-all be-all when it comes to extra protection. And although it steps in and takes care of a lot of scenarios, there's also a lot that we personally may experience that does not cover. And I want to go into detail with that today. So before I jump in on what umbrellas do not cover, let's go back to the basis and talk about what an umbrella policy is. So I'm talking about personal umbrellas at the moment. What that does is your umbrella policy will increase any underlying exposures you may have. Exposures that are pretty typical under an umbrella policy will, of course, be your auto, your home, any investment properties you may have, and our toys. It is important, though, with any vehicles that actually are autos that we can drive, they carry the underlying limits that are required. For farmers' purposes, we require a $250,500 limit. And so how this works, your umbrella policy will increase your bodily injury from $250,000, $500,000 to $1 million. Same with your home. Homes typically have a $300,000 limit, which would then increase up to $1 million as well. And umbrella policies basically provide us protection up to that higher limit against things like lawsuits, medical bills of others. So first, let's quickly talk about what your umbrella policy does cover. And it's things like medical bills to others, funeral expenses, lawsuit defense or legal defense lawsuits such as defamation or slander, any tenant damages to your property or tenant injuries themselves. These are things that are pretty standard when it comes to an umbrella policy. What enacts your umbrella policy or even your homeowner's policy to pay out for personal liability is a lawsuit itself. That is what basically is a chain of command for your insurance to kick in. For anyone to have a claim against your property, your personal liability, or etc., it does have to go through an actual legal suit. Now let's talk about what umbrella policies do not cover. As I mentioned, the rule of thumb typically is anything outside of our household or us, umbrella policies will kick in for. When it comes to personal injuries for ourselves or our household members, we do not have coverage. Damage against our personal property or our household members' personal property is not covered under your umbrella policy. Any kind of intentional or criminal acts typically are not covered under your umbrella policy. In the event that you were sued for a dog bite, a lot of insurance companies will have exclusions for certain dog breeds. Farmers is a company, in fact, that does provide inclusive coverage for any kind of dog breed. We will insure any dog breed, no matter what kind of bully breed it is. We do allow up to 2 bites, etc. So things to keep in mind. We are definitely a very progressive insurance brand when it comes to our animals. We love them. Other things to consider, as I was saying, if we, for example, I'm a business owner, any acts that I do in my business would not be defended under my personal umbrella policy. It's important to make sure you have adequate coverage and you have business insurance. And of course, if you have a higher risk business where maybe you have business autos involved, or you have some services that you render that could be a little bit more risky, I do recommend having an umbrella policy in your business's name as well. That way you're covered on all sides and fronts. As I preached in earlier episodes, an umbrella policy is an absolute must on a personal level and, of course, on a business level. People are beyond sue happy these days, and as my favorite saying goes, you do not have to be a millionaire to be sued like one. Remember to ask yourself, are you protected? As always, I hope you enjoyed the conversation. If I could be any assistance to any of you, please feel free to reach me at 602-525-5665 or email me at cmcqueen@farmersagent.com. We'll see you all next week. Happy Feliz Cinco de Mayo.